Howdy people, thanks for watching. My name is Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie. Elsewhere on this channel, I am in the midst of ranking and reviewing every single Frank Zappa album released after he passed away in December of 1993. I'm about to post number 20 of the 55 released after that. I've already done the ones released during his lifetime if you're interested. But I'm going to take a little break because today, April 3rd, 2021, Zappa.com has announced its next release. And it is a 2-disc set coming out on June 18th. I will say that I am fortunate enough and lucky enough that I've already been able to pre-order it. You can pre-order the disc set on Zappa.com. I saw what it was. It is something that I actually already possess on a cassette tape. It is something I've been pretty much asking for in all of these videos, is release more complete live shows. I think the Road Tape series, in which they release complete shows, is the best thing ZFT has done. And this is a complete show. The show is from the 1988 tour. It is, I was going to, at one point when I was done with this list, do a video of like, these are the tours I want to see more complete shows from. This was number 5 out of 5, was the 1988 tour. I will admit this is not the show I would have picked. It is, during that tour, Frank did, he played a US leg, a bunch of shows starting in February, going through March, end of March, took a little break, then did Europe in April, May, and early June, and then he was going to go back to the States and play the US, mainly sort of a Midwestern, West Coast swing. Shows I was going to go see in Los Angeles, which would have been my only chance to see Frank. I would have been 18 at the time. Last time he played LA, I was 14 and not yet into him. But before that could happen, the band broke up, and it looks like they will never play again. There was infighting. People didn't get along with people. A certain person didn't play the right jazz notes, and that was not appreciated by the people who were more jazz-oriented, and there was a lot of bickering, and Frank was losing money like crazy. So that second leg of the tour never happened, and Frank never played again. And that is how this show is being billed, and I think that is why it has been selected, because it is the very last show Frank ever played in the United States of America, and that is what it says on the website. Get this show, 3/25/88, Nassau Coliseum. Oh, that's the second disc. There's the first tape. The last show Frank ever played in the United States. And I'm pretty sure that is why this has been picked, because there's a great tagline for it. The US portion of the tour was not as strong as the European portion of the tour. I think Frank's solos got better in Europe. Plus, I also think the quote-unquote monster songs, the King Kongs, the Big Swifties, and most particularly the Pound for a Brown on the buses became wilder. The horn solos got crazier. I think everybody loosened up a little more. The Synclavier jams got better. So I would have picked, if it was up to me, I would have picked a European show. And if I had to pick a US show for whatever reason, this maybe would sneak into the top 10 of the US tour. But it is not the best of the US tour, but it's definitely not the worst. And I would say I would give it like a B, maybe a really solid B+. But there were songs on here that definitely need to be heard if you have not heard them. And overall, I think it is a good release. And I think if you're going to go with a theme like, hey, this is the last show Frank ever played, luckily it was a pretty good last show that Frank ever played. So this is what you get. Set 1 is all contained on disc 1. The entire first set is on disc 1. Plus there's a couple songs from disc 2. So you get the Black Page, the New Age version. You get the premiere of Ain't Got No Heart from the 80 tour, has not yet been released. You get Love of My Life. You get Inca Roads, which I have to say, I think for me, the biggest disappointment on the 88 tour were the Inca Roads solos. I mean, the last time Frank played Inca Roads live was in the 79 tour, and those things were monsters. You get Shut Up and Play Your Guitar, return of Shut Up and Play Your Guitar, the return of the son of the daughter of the brother-in-law of Shut Up and Play Your Guitar. Those title tracks from those albums are Inca Road solos. One of Frank's all-time greatest solos ever, Occam's Razor, was an Inca Road solo. There's some Inca Road solos from 79 or one on a guitar. The album, that tour, The Inca Roads were ridiculous. They weren't quite as ridiculous on the '88 tour. And this one is, it's not that strong. It's a pretty, they're more laid back affairs. They're more casual affairs. The sound quality on this is pretty good. I gave it like a 9.1 way back in, so I can hear what's happening on here. I think any enjoyment that I don't have on this does not come from sound quality. But it's still Inca Roads. You get a good horn solo. It still sounds great. But the guitar solo is not going to knock your socks off. I'm just going to warn you. But then you get a Charlena, which is always good. A Who Needs the Peace Corps. Then you get the typical ending for a lot of the first sets in the U.S. portion of the tour. Dickie's Such an A-Hole. When the Lie's So Big. Jesus Thinks You're a Jerk. And then it closes with Sofa number 1. That is the end of the first set, but not the end of the first disc. This is kind of one of the problems with this release, is the first disc then continues on with set 2, which is you get a Happy Birthday sing-along to Chad. You actually get One Man, One Vote on here, the Synclavier song, which was played as sort of like, speaker music. The band didn't play it. It was played over the loudspeakers as the band came back on the stage. It's indexed as a separate track on the CD, so I don't know what that means. So maybe it is just that song with all the audience noise. We'll find out when it gets released. They sing Happy Birthday to Chad because it's Chad Wackerman's birthday. Then you get Packard Goose, which is phenomenal. In the middle of Packard Goose, there was not a guitar solo. That was kind of sucky. But what they did play was, that was when they played the Royal March from La Historia du Soldat, however that's pronounced. I'm sure I mangled that. And the theme from the Bartok Piano Concerto number 3, which appeared on The Best Band You Never Heard in Your Life. But there it was completely out of context. So you didn't really actually hear like what it sounded like in real time. Here, you actually get those songs in the middle of Packard Goose, which is how they were performed for real. So then after that, you get The Torture Never Stops. They play The Torture Never Stops. But on the end of disc 1, you get the Torture Part 1, which is the verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And then instead of going into the solo, it goes into Bonanza. And then Bonanza would go into Lonesome Cowboy Burt. But on the disc, after Bonanza, the disc ends and disc 2 starts off with Lonesome Cowboy Burt. So The Torture Never Stops is essentially divided in half on the disc, which is kind of weird. But there's some pretty good secret word usage in here. They're having a really good time. It's a fun show. These tortures are fun. The solo is not going to, again, like the Inca Road solos, it's not going to blow your mind, but it's not a bad solo. But I think the sort of lightheartedness that Ike and Frank bring to this performance is what makes it. Then you get City of Tiny Lights. You get A Pound for a Brown on the Bus. And the Pound for a Brown on the Bus features a few moments with Brother A. West. So Brother A. West, you can hear a few moments with Brother A. West on The Best Band You Never Heard in Your Life. It is this fake preacher that Frank would come out and be like, you're all going to hell and blah, blah, blah. And he would do this fake preaching thing and people would boo him. And at one point, Frank had to say, no, he's not for real. It's an actor. It's a joke. Don't kick his ass in the audience, because apparently people were threatening to kick his butt. He appeared twice. The first performance was on Valentine's Day. It is on The Best Band You Never Heard in Your Life. That is an edited version of the actual performance. This is the second performance of Brother A. West on this. That never, ever needed to be released, if you ask me, because what he took the place of were more horn solos, probably a percussion solo, maybe some synclavier jamming. He definitely, probably a guitar solo. He took the place of better things. So that is one of my problems with this release. But that is followed by the Beatles medley, which definitely needed to be released. So Frank took 3 Beatles songs, changed the words of them to reflect the situation with the preacher Jimmy Swaggart, and he made a medley out of them. And there was talk back in when I first started getting into Frank that these would never be released because they just would not be able to get the rights. That somehow they would get sued because you can't change the lyrics to songs. But apparently, whatever copyright issues existed a while ago are gone. And these are the 3 songs. It is called the Beatles medley on the actual CD. If you trade tapes or something, it was generally called the Texas Motel medley. The 3 songs that appear in this are Norwegian Wood, which was changed to Norwegian Jim, about Jimmy Swaggart. Makes absolutely no sense. The second one was Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which became Louisiana Hooker with Herpes. Louisiana Hooker with her. Whatever. And Strawberry Fields Forever, which became Texas Motel. And these were about Jimmy Swaggart and his meeting a prostitute in a Texas motel and that whole thing. They're pretty good. The band sounds amazing playing these songs. The lyrics are kind of funny. Again, it's a good time. After that, you get Peaches and Regalia. We need every single version of this. I mean, not every version, but we need to hear every band's version of this. And I think now we have with this release. Then we get Stairway to Heaven. And this is a really interesting release because on the American portion, the U.S. portion of the tour, of the 88 tour, the beginning of Stairway to Heaven was not reggae. Keneally played it straight, just on an electric guitar, the da-na-na-na-na, just that same chord, arpeggiated chord progression. That's what he played. And then as the song progressed, you'd get the weird synclavier noises. Frank would rip off some riffs, and then it would just keep building and building and building until you got to the fantastic horns playing the solo thing. And so the best band version is the reggae version from the Europe tour. This is not the reggae version. This is the straight, it sounds exactly like Stairway to Heaven version of Stairway to Heaven. So that's interesting. Then you get an I Am the Walrus, Whipping Post, Bolero, and America the Beautiful, the same one that you can hear on Zappa for President. One interesting thing is this is, according to Zappa.com, this is not the actual complete show from 3/25/88. The Stairway to Heaven and the Whipping Post, which were most definitely played at this show, like this tape is, 20 plus years old at this point. What is this, 2021? 25, 26 years old. Stairway to Heaven and Whipping Post were played at this show. The versions on the CD release or on the LP release or on the Zappa.com release are not from this show. The Stairway to Heaven is from 3/23, a Maryland show. And then the Whipping Post is from 3/16, which was a show also on the US tour. I don't know where that was from. It's not the Maryland show. That was 3/23. But they're from different shows, which the only reason, according to Zappa.com, obviously I have not heard the releases, so I can't verify that that's the case. But on these 2 versions, Dweezil sits in. Dweezil rips off a solo. There were frequently solos that Frank would play before the horn section would play Jimmy Page's solo. If you have not heard this, the horn section plays Jimmy Page's solo. I'm sorry I gave that away. Spoiler alert. But frequently Frank would play a solo before that. On this one, Dweezil does. And then Dweezil and Frank also both play on Whipping Post. So they have taken the 2 songs that Dweezil is on and they've taken Dweezil off and put on song versions that Dweezil does not appear on. So I don't know if that's a personal thing. I don't know why that happened. It cannot be a coincidence that the only 2 ones that they replaced with other versions are Dweezil songs. Like there was a glitch in the tape or a glitch in the recording. Does not make sense that those would be the songs since they're only separated by one other song. But that's what happened, according to Zappa.com, is we get different versions of those 2 songs. So that'll be interesting to hear why that happened. But anyways, yeah, so I bought it already. I think it's a pretty solid, it's a solid show with some great song choices. I will honestly be surprised if the sound quality makes me think these solos are a little more kick butt than I do think they are now, but I am actually excited to hear this. I'm actually excited to just have more live complete concerts. I love listening to complete concerts, and I think the 88 tour, Frank did a really good job of balancing songs and creating set lists. And this is a pretty good set list, a pretty balanced show. It is not what I would have picked, but I cannot say that I'm unhappy with this. When it comes out, I will review it and rank it, and it will go in that number 27 slot, like I said it would. And I will let you know whether it deserves to be there. That probably might be a good place for it. 27 might be about where this falls on the top 55 list, but we'll find out. So anyways, that's it, man. I just wanted to give you a heads up. It's out there. Go to Zappa.com if you want more details. And yeah, all that stuff, man. That's it. So thanks for watching. Just love to know your thoughts in general about what I have to say. Whether you're excited about this, whether you're not excited about this, whether you think ZFT did a good job, whether you care about the 88 tour, all that kind of stuff. Just throw me some info. All right, that's it. Bye. Take care. Subscribe.